don't give a fuck.
There once was a young hamster named Hammy the hamster.
He was taken from his mother at a young age by the Nords.
And then a mad scientist rescued him from the Nord camp. Oh yeah, and he was a time-traveling mad scientist and stuff.
The scientist then took Hammy to Dexter's laboratory.
Hammy was then thrown into a cage and drugged so that he would fall asleep. He then awoke to see the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air standing over top of him.
The mad scientist walks in and engages the Fresh Prince in intense combat.
The scientist finished the fight off with a signature Mike Tyson ear bite.
He kicked him out of the room and told him to go back to Bel-Air.
The Fresh Prince said, "Whoa dog, smell you later," and he got out of there.
The scientist angrily walked over to the hamster and stabbed a needle into him.
Hammy fell asleep suddenly. When he woke up, everything felt different.
He could feel power coursing through his veins.
He went to the side of his cage and drank and ate all the food and water in less than 29 seconds.
He then ripped through the side of the cage with nothing but his bare hands.
The scientist ran in and kicked Hammy across the room, hitting a wall violently, but it did not hurt Hammy.
Hammy leaped furiously towards the scientist, cutting his jugular with his nails.
The scientist screamed in agony as he choked on his own blood.
Before dying, the scientist reached into his lab coat and pulled out a vial and threw it at Hammy.
Hammy was once again knocked unconscious.
When he awoke, he was 5 times his original size and he could stand on his 2 back legs.
Hammy then went over to the mini fridge sitting in the corner and grabbed a large case of needles sitting in it.
Hammy then once again passed out. When he awoke, he was so huge he could barely fit in the room.
He flung his arms violently, destroying the room completely. He walked outside to find himself standing in a cornfield.
He met the wise wizard Merlin in the cornfield, and then Merlin gave him the magical sword Excalibur and the scabbard.
He then proceeded to stab Merlin in the face. Hammy then once again passed out.
When he awoke, he was 200 feet tall.
Now, Hammy wanted revenge on the race that had done this to him. He realized he could now talk, and was beside New York.
And then Brendel Sabatino randomly interrupted the story.
He charged towards New York City with a vengeance in his heart.
He charged into the city, stepping on cars violently as he headed towards the Empire State Building. He then cut the Empire State Building in half with the Excalibur.
He then continued rampaging through the city, destroying as many buildings as possible.
The US Army then began to send fighter jets, which Hammy destroyed instantly. He eliminated the entire US Army in less than 3 hours. The Avengers then arrived at the scene.
Iron Man flew at Hammy with unrelenting force and speed, but Hammy grabbed him and ripped him in half.
Hawkeye and Black Widow were instantly stepped on because they suck.
He then grabbed Captain America, put him in a plane, and threw him into the Antarctic Ocean.
Hammy grabs Thor's hammer and smashes him, killing him instantly.
The Hulk jumped up, yelling, "Hulk smash!" and then Hammy opened his mouth and swallowed him whole.
The city of New York was now screaming with fear. It sounded very much like this. Chuck Norris then descended from the heavens. He then shot lightning bolts into Hammy's eyes. Hammy felt nothing.
Chuck realized the only way to defeat the hamster was to take the magical scabbard which had protected him.
Chuck then stole the scabbard and pulled out a Japanese longsword and cut the hamster's head clean off.
The hamster wriggled around and said, "Curse you, Chuck Norris," and then descended into the gates of hell.
Chuck then exclaimed, "You are saved, my friends." Then everyone in New York conceded to have an intense party.
They were having such an intense party that New York exploded because it displeased the gods.